What is going on, swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke. A little bit more subdued, obviously. So that's it for the 2020 season. So let's just run that intro, jump straight into it. So of course, just before we do jump straight into it, I'm on Twitch. I just hit 100 followers, so thank you all so much. I'm really enjoying Crash Bandicoot, and it seems like all you guys are as well. So I thank you so much for watching. If you're watching, if not, jump onto Twitch, Swoop Luke. Also follow me on TikTok, Swoop Luke. Also follow me on Instagram, Swoop Luke. But that's over now. So let's talk about this game. So there's no point sugarcoating it. It was an absolutely putrid, insipid display from our beloved Magpies, especially with after what we dished up against West Coast, that 1-point win, and then coming back, and we were all pretty confident. Maybe I was confident that we were going to win, but I was also more confident that we were going to get a good close contest, and it was anything but. It was close for the first 2 seconds when there was no scores, and then it was just no good. Credit where it's due, though. Geelong played fantastic football. They played out of their freaking skin. I haven't seen a Geelong side like that in years. They were just, obviously they deserved the win because they put on like 11 goals up until three-quarter time or whatever and kept us to one goal for three quarters, which is so freaking stupid. But we just didn't handle the heat very well. And I'm not going to be making excuses like, the travel from WA and it was a good win and that was their grand final. That's not how life works. It's you play football every week, right? From the round 18 to the first week of finals, there was a 7-day break. From that game to this game, from the West Coast game to this Geelong game, there was another 7-day break. So in 3 weeks, we've had 14 days off. Don't tell me that there's mental fatigue. Don't tell me that they left it all in Perth. That's absolutely ridiculous. The guys, they look like they were shell-shocked. It's not a Collingwood team that we've come to expect in the last 3 years. It was the lowest point of the season. I know we've had close losses and other big losses, but this was the lowest point of the season. To not perform in a semi-final where the Cats were beatable. If we had played our brand of football, the Cats were beatable. Brisbane's beatable, But it just wasn't to be, and our 2020 season, our stuttering 2020 season ends with a whimper. We didn't go down fighting at all, and I think that's the saddest part. I can take a 60, 70 point loss if the effort's there, but when there's no effort, when you score one goal in three quarters of football in a semi-final, it just doesn't sit right with me, and I know it doesn't sit right with you guys as well. I can see you all in my Instagram comments, but what can you do? What can you absolutely do? It sucks. It hurts. Geelong just outplayed us from the word go. Like, look at some of these stats, right? Geelong went at 80% disposal efficiency. They had 158 more disposals than us for the entire game. 118 more kicks, 70 more handballs, 16 more inside 50s, 13 clearances, more clearances than us. We beat them in hitouts, but again, the ruck to midfield connection in those hitouts is just non-existent. They scored more goals from stoppages, like 34 clearances to 21. That's crazy. Absolutely nuts. Uncontested possession, they were up by about 150 at the end of the game. Uncontested possession. So that's just when we're letting them chip the ball and kick the ball and stuff like that. Absolutely crazy. It's absolutely not on. For the game, they had 17 marks inside 50. We had 5 marks inside 50. They had 134 marks around the ground. We didn't even make 50 marks around the ground. Contested marks, intercept possessions. We had more tackles because we were always second to the ball. It's not a very nice feeling. It's not a very nice feeling. I was going to do likes and dislikes, but there's literally nothing to like about this game, and I just talked about my dislikes just then. It's just, I can go on and pick out every little part that we did wrong, but the guys they just weren't turned on. It just wasn't, it wasn't, not that it wasn't our night, because it was our night, especially coming after that West Coast game. That ebb and the flow, it was a huge drop-off, and Grundy has dropped off. Stevenson barely touched the ball. So many passengers last night. That is ridiculous. There's more passengers last night than there is in a Boeing 747 flying from here to New York. More passengers than that. Absolutely ridiculous. Buckley had no answers. The coaching staff had no answers. The guys had no answers. Pendlebury didn't have one clearance for that entire game. Pendlebury didn't have one clearance for the entire game. That's when you know it's crazy. Look, I'm not mad, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed that we went out in a whimper like that. It's sad. It's really, really, really fucking sad. Like I alluded to before, there were just a lot of passengers in this game, like Will Hoskin Elliott, Stevenson. They got 3 touches each. No one in the team went over 18 disposals. Taylor Adams was our leading disposal getter. Isaac Quaynor had 5 tackles the most in our team. Then you think back to last week where Jack Crisp, Levi Greenwood, and Taylor Adams each had 8 tackles. And then it's just this. I can't stress enough how just disappointed I am, and disappointed all you guys are as well. I feel it. All the messages, all the comments and stuff like that. But all we can do now is just hope that Richmond don't win the premiership. I'll be going for the Brisbane Lions, hoping that they get over the Cats. And look, watch the Cats get done by Brisbane next week. This is I was saying it yesterday, this is such an outlier for them. It's absolutely crazy. And we were pretty happy with the selection. We're going in as, no changes from last week to this week. Was that a detriment? I think most supporters enjoyed it because, okay, we finally don't have any injuries. We finally don't have to make forced changes and stuff like that because we played so well. But when hindsight for supporters is 2020. Like, did we go too tall? At one point, Mason Cox was in the ruck. Why would Cox be in the ruck, if Cameron and Grundy are in the same team? Obviously, it's to get Cox into the game. But my point still stands. If Grundy and Cameron are in the team, Cox doesn't ruck at all. Okay, he's not in the game. But put him maybe in the centre square, waiting for that ball to come out so he can be that link-up player. Did we go too tall? Was there not enough in and unders? They love a contested possession, the Geelong Cats do. And we just weren't ready. I can't believe I'm saying that we weren't ready for their game. We know what their game plan. We watch them. The coaches have footage to watch and stuff like that. So it's just crazy that we just weren't prepared, and the boys weren't prepared to run. We weren't prepared to tackle. They were way too slow. And like I said at the start of this, they were too slow. But I don't want to say that it was because last week they exerted themselves, because we were in front for most of that time last week. It was just a normal game of football that happened to be played in a final. It wasn't like we were coming back from 50 points and we had to score 11 goals straight. It wasn't anything like that. We were in front, then West Coast kicked a few goals. It wasn't anything special in the sense that we didn't have to come back from 10, 11 goals down. We were in front for most of the game. But we were in front for none of this game. We weren't on from the get-go. But sometimes that's just how football is, how disappointing it is. That's just how football is sometimes. I want to give a special mention, the only special mention, or actually a couple of special mentions. Yeah, alright, let's go. Taylor Adams. I reckon that he's done something bad to his elbow or wrist, but he played out the entire game. Well, he's probably dislocated or broken it, or a broken wrist or something, and he just came out there to give it his all. Let's hope it's not, but I'm saying that it could possibly be something like that, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like that. And the second only special mention to Braden Maynard. At the end of the game, he went out and in the change rooms, he shook every guy's hand and stuff like that, and that's just the sign of a leader of the club. And there's lots of talk of Taylor Adams being the next captain, but Braden Maynard puts his body on the line and he looks like he could be captain or at least vice captain material. But yeah, those are the only two special mentions from this entire game. So now it's the Insta Q&A. I asked you guys this morning to send me some questions. I haven't seen any of them, so I'm going to go through them and give them a read. All right, let's start. Do you reckon our premiership window is still open? I think it is. Penrith has got another 2 years or so. Sidebottom the same. Jeremy Howe the same. We've got a young core group of players. Dunn and Varco and stuff won't be there come next year. You wouldn't think. But I think our premiership window is still open. We just need to add a bit more talent. And yeah, we could compete for the next the next 2, 3, 4 years. We can still compete for it. Who would you say was our best player last night? That's a hard question to answer. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I want to say Taylor Adams just because Taylor A came on with that injury and stuff like that, but no one stood out. And I don't know if that's because I was just sad or I was just switched off, and you probably have another better answer for me, but I don't think anybody stood out. So I'm just going to say Taylor Adams. What the fuck is wrong with Grundy versus 2018 and pretty much 2019 as well? Grundy, you would hope to all heavens that Grundy is carrying an injury. If he's not carrying an injury, something is just... that is the biggest drop-off I've ever seen of a player, going from AA ruck to what we saw this season. He'd have to be carrying an injury. Buckley said he's not carrying an injury, but of course he's going to lie. They're not going to tell us that he's carrying an injury because he'll get targeted and stuff like that. So you'd hope that he's carrying an injury. If not, we just need a new ruck coach because what we have now is not working at all. Do you think Steele and Howe would have made a huge difference in the finals? I think they would have. I think in the sense that if we had Steele and Howe, we probably would have finished top 4 and we probably wouldn't be in the position that we're in now. But Steele makes us a better midfield and Howe makes us a better defence. Imagine didn't have his best game last night and Howe just obviously would have slotted straight into there and been that intercept marker and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think that Howe and Steele would have stopped us from the rort that the Cats did to us, but it would have helped. Like I said, we would have probably finished top 4. Do you think this game will have a big mental impact on the club? That is a very, 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 very good question. I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. It's a shit loss. We saw what happened to Adelaide in 2017. We saw what happened to GWS. But I don't think this is discounted. This is an outlier, pretty much. Look what we did against West Coast last week. And look what we put up now. That's shades of black and white, It's going to hurt. It's going to sting, of course. But if I don't see how the 2018 Grand Final or the 2019 prelim, if they didn't affect the club mentally, this shouldn't either. Yes, it's a huge loss. It's a huge, devastating loss, but I don't think it's going to affect them as mentally as the media would like you to believe. All right, there's just so many trades and stuff, so I'm not going to get into all of these, but thank you so much. There's at least 60 questions here, and 45, or no, probably 55 of them are about trades and delistings and stuff. But I will answer those soon.
Ooh la la.
So anyway, guys, that's been my review of this game. I'm sorry it's so subdued. That's just how I'm feeling at the moment. I didn't want to wear the Collingwood jersey, but you can see that I've been holding on to it so tightly for this entire video. Look, that's the review. Towards the end of this week, probably I'm going to do a season review. I want to talk about Jordan De Goey. I will talk about all our trades and delistings and stuff like that. And throughout the off-season, I'm going to have all this news and stuff as it comes. A bit of history. I want to get into a little bit of history of the Collingwood Football Club as well. I've been sitting on this video since the pre-season of something awesome that I don't think anyone really knows. And I just haven't had time to do it, which is ironic because we're in a freaking pandemic. But I will. So don't think that Swoop Luke is going because the season's finished. I'm going to be back. I'm going to be stronger than ever. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, Flag Post 21, Double Shackers. Swoop you later.